In a move that left basketball fans on the edge of their seats, Caitlin Clark, the sensational talent from Iowa, known for her long-range shooting and fierce court presence, made an unexpected leap that took everyone by surprise. She joined Unrivaled. Yes, the same Unrivaled that's made headlines as a powerhouse team packed with stars. This isn't just a transfer, it's a seismic event in basketball circles, shaking up alliances, strategies, and expectations across the board. For fans, it's like watching a new blockbuster in the making. Clark's move to Unrivaled hints at something far more intriguing than a simple roster addition. This is a strategic and symbolic shift that could change the landscape of the sport. But before we proceed further, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. Clark's game is pure fire, and anyone who's watched her light up the court knows it's not just her skill that makes her unforgettable. She's got an unmistakable swagger, that slightly wild side, always on the edge but with total control of her game. Her knack for sinking three-pointers from what feels like the parking lot isn't just jaw-dropping. It's the kind of moment that replays in your mind. She's got fans hooked, rivals wary, and coaches figuring out how to contain her. It's no wonder her sudden move to Unrivaled has stirred up the basketball world. This isn't just about her talent, it's about her presence, a presence that changes the energy of any game. Unrivaled, of course, isn't just any team. It's the kind of franchise that, in a short time, has grown into a modern skills against the best and, let's be honest, to put her mark on a much larger canvas. And for Unrivaled, bringing in a player like Caitlin is a power play, a message that they're ready to dominate not just in skill but in style. Clark's addition to Unrivaled doesn't only boost their lineup, it stirs up their dynamic. This is a team that's already filled with talent, and adding Clark to the mix feels like a spark in a room already full of fireworks. There's an almost electric curiosity about how her style will mesh with her new teammates. Will her deep three-pointers blend well with Unrivaled's fast break tempo? Will her unpredictable moves throw off rivals or open new lanes for her fellow players? And then there's her off-court personality. Clark is known for a certain candid confidence, the kind that makes post-game interviews as entertaining as her on-court performances. Her blend of humor and grit will be an interesting addition to a team that prides itself on focus and drive. From a young age, Clark's natural ability and love for the game made her a standout. Growing up in Iowa, she was the kid who, even in grade school, would hit shots that made people stop and stare. Her early coaches were stunned by her precision and range. Her peers struggled to keep up, and even seasoned players couldn't help but recognize that she had that elusive it factor. As she continued to develop, her style became bolder, her shots riskier. In high school, she was already making plays that seemed straight out of a pro game. Clark became more than a promising player. She became a phenomenon, the one people would talk about at the dinner table, predicting where her talent would take her. Clark's journey has never been without challenges, though. Despite her natural talent, she worked relentlessly on her craft, often hitting the gym when others were still asleep, determined to improve her form, speed, and shot accuracy. Her dedication and laser focus didn't just sharpen her skills, they hardened her spirit. By the time she entered college, Clark had transformed herself into one of the most electrifying players in the country. But it wasn't just her stats that impressed. It was the way she made every game feel like a spectacle. There was a sense that whenever Caitlin Clark had the ball, something unforgettable might happen. So what does her leap to Unrivaled mean? For one, it shifts the balance of power. Competitors are already recalculating their game plans, knowing that facing Unrivaled now means more than just containing their usual scores. Clark brings unpredictability to the game. She can sink a deep three or drive to the hoop with that fearless look she's known for. Teams that might have thought they had Unrivaled figured out are suddenly on their toes, watching replays and sketching out defenses to handle Clark's range and fearlessness. For her teammates, Clark's arrival adds new dimensions to the game, and for her opponents, it's a wake-up call that Unrivaled's arsenal just got even more dangerous. Beyond the tactical shift, there's also an emotional element here. Fans have grown attached to Clark's journey, watching her rise from an Iowa kid to a national star. Her move to Unrivaled feels like a chapter from an epic story, the kind where the hero takes on new challenges, new allies, and new battles. For her loyal followers, this is a moment of excitement, a chance to see her push her limits on a bigger stage. There's also the underlying tension. Will she maintain her signature style, or will she adapt to Unrivaled's system? For some fans, there's a sense of pride in seeing Clark take this step, a feeling of "that's our girl," as she enters a bigger arena. In terms of her own growth, this move is monumental for Clark. Playing for Unrivaled gives her a chance to refine her game further, testing herself against top-tier talent daily, not just in games but in practice. For a player of her caliber, there's nothing quite like the challenge of facing the best, learning their habits, their tricks, and pushing herself beyond her comfort zone. For Clark, Unrivaled is more than a team. It's a place where her skills can be stretched, her game expanded, her limits redefined. She's stepping into a world where the margin for error is razor thin, where every shot and every pass could mean the difference between a win and a loss. From the moment she steps onto the court with Unrivaled, Clark's every move will be watched, dissected, and celebrated. She's no longer just playing for herself or her college. She's representing a team with massive expectations. But if there's one thing her fans know, it's that Clark thrives under pressure. She doesn't just face challenges, she thrives on them, feeds off them. When the stakes are high, Caitlin Clark is the type to grin, throw in a little shimmy, and sink a shot that makes the crowd roar. Her confidence isn't arrogance, it's a deep-rooted belief in her ability to change the game. Joining Unrivaled only raises those stakes, putting her in situations where she can prove herself not just as a shooter but as a leader, a player who can shift the momentum of any game with her sheer presence. Yet, as much as this move is about basketball, it's also about personality. Clark's got a style that's unmistakable, a certain rhythm to her game that's both raw and refined. She doesn't just play, she performs. Watching her on the court is like watching an artist in action, each shot, each pass, delivered with a mix of precision and flair. Joining Unrivaled means bringing that personality into a team known for its own distinct vibe, a team that's bold, ambitious, and sometimes even a little brash. Clark isn't likely to tone down her style. If anything, she'll add a new layer to Unrivaled's energy, a fresh burst of adrenaline that could make them even harder to beat. Clark's move to Unrivaled also has ripple effects for young players watching her journey. She's become a symbol of what's possible with hard work, grit, and a little bit of that X factor. Her journey is a reminder that talent can come from anywhere, that a player from Iowa can make it to the biggest stages in basketball. It's inspiring, especially for young girls who see themselves in her, who see her taking on the big leagues and making a name without losing her authenticity. Clark's story is more than a career. It's a beacon for anyone who's ever dreamed big and worked harder to make it happen. And while Clark's transition into Unrivaled's ranks may seem smooth, there's bound to be an adjustment period. Learning new plays, sensing with her teammates, and adapting to a new coaching style will test her adaptability. But if there's one thing Caitlin has shown time and again, it's her ability to handle whatever comes her way. She's the kind of player who doesn't just play. She commits, she grinds, and she finds a way to make things work. Fans can almost picture her now, maybe during a scrimmage, pulling up from way beyond the arc just to see if she can make her new teammates drop their jaws. That's Clark, bold, unafraid, always ready to push her limits.